Hey YouTube, today we're going to be talking about Sig Sauer pistols, and the subject that I'm going to talk about today, I've talked about with a few different pistol platforms, is whether the Sig Sauer pistol is outdated. But before we get started talking about these, I'm going to let you know that every one of these pistols have been safety checked, none of them have any magazines or ammunition in them, and as I pick them up, I will show you that they are clear and we are safe to make this video. So what we'll start off with is a Sig Sauer P220. So this is an older P220, and some might say that the 220 was what really started off the modern pistol era. This pistol came out in 1975, so it's been around quite a long time, and it really gives it's really a modern looking pistol. They really haven't changed much over the years, but this is really what started all these modern pistols today. Now, what this is an alloy frame with a steel slide on top of it, and this one happens to be one of the older, what they call the folded slide, where they welded on the front piece and everything like that. But that's a whole history that we're not going to go into. But 220 alloy frame and a steel slide. So this pistol was kind of revolutionary for its time, because it lightened up the frame of a pistol, made the pistol a little bit lighter. But one of the things about this thing is this is a single stack pistol. So this one happens to be in 45 ACP, and it's a single stack. So your magazine capacity on this one's going to be 8 rounds of 45. But for its time, this is a pretty modern pistol. But if you look at it, it's compared to today's times, you don't have your fancy optic cut out, you don't have your rail on the front of it or anything. What this one does have, and I think Sig was probably the one that perfected this, it does have the double action, single action thing. So it's got a decocker on it. So your first shot when you're carrying this one around is going to be in double action, and then every shot there afterwards is going to be single action. So it does have a great trigger on it. So this is a hammer fired pistol, and usually, folks, if you've been around enough firearms like I have, you'll know that usually a hammer fired pistol does have, a better trigger than the new modern striker fired pistols. It's just a fact, and there's no way to get around that one. But this is what got it all started in 1975 for the modern pistol era, the Sig Sauer P220, and they later came out with the P226 and 9mm. I don't happen to own one of those because it's a 9mm and they're a little bit pricey, and I'm not gonna spend that much money on something that when I already have one that's in a better caliber, 45. But is it outdated? Well, we'll look at some other Sigs here, some more modern ones, and we'll make the assumption. But alloy frame, so it's pretty light. This one happens to be a full-size P220. The next one we're going to go to is when they started modernizing them a little bit, and I'm going to show you that it's not loaded. This is the same thing. This is a P220. This one happens to be a carry, but this one's all stainless. So this is a full stainless gun, and as you can see, they've added a couple modern features to this thing. So they've put a Picatinny rail, and they put front serrations for all the press checkers out there. I always like to give them props. People like to press check. And the best feature that they added on this thing was the short reset trigger. So the short reset trigger on the Sig, if you'll notice, when you pull the trigger first, you have that much take up, and your reset on your second one is only right there. So this thing has an absolutely fantastic trigger. It's got checkering on the front, and it's got texturing on the back, and just a more modern version of it. But when you compare this to some of the ones we're about to show you, it's probably going to be a little outdated. But this thing has an absolutely excellent trigger. And now what you got to realize about this is a stainless gun, and this gun has some heft to it. This thing is absolutely heavy. Compared to this full-size one, this one's quite a bit heavy because it's a solid steel frame. But when you take this gun to the range, this gun will shoot flatter because you can tame some of the recoil down a little bit because of the weight to it. But when you're looking at, certain things that you use guns for, like handguns for, this would not be as good of a carry option as some of these newer ones because of the sheer weight that it has to it. It has quite a bit of weight to it. But this is a very modern gun, and they do not make this one anymore, and I'm not really sure they really make a lot of stainless steel guns. So what Sig Sauer has done is they've shifted their focus over to these polymer frame guns, and what I have here is a plain Jane P320. Now, when I talk about P320, I'm talking about this modular platform here that they have, and it can also carry over into the P365 platform. Now, I don't have a P365 because I'm not a micro 9mm guy. This one's just a regular compact P320, and this one happens to be chambered in, guess what, folks, 45 ACP. But what makes these cool, this is what Sig started doing around the year 2017, I believe it was. They entered the contract to, it actually was a competition with the military to make the modular pistol competition. The United States military was looking to replace the Beretta, which had been around since the late 80s, and this is what Sig submitted, and this is what ultimately won the contract. Now, this is a polymer frame gun with a steel slide on top, and what makes this really cool is this is completely modular, so you can take this whole firing control unit out of this plastic polymer frame and put it in any size frame that you want. Now, these things are the aftermarket support on them was probably rivals a Glock. They became so popular. So more people are going to be focused on buying something like this than they will these two right here. First of all, these things are a lot more affordable than these metal frame hammer fired SIGs. These striker fired ones, and the triggers on them are pretty good. There's your first trigger pull, and here's your reset and pull. So the trigger's really good on them. Aftermarket supports really come along a long ways because this has become one of the most popular platforms on the earth right now. So a lot of people are steering towards these. Now, these things become a lot more modern. I mean, you can shoot these things a lot faster. They're striker fire. They're more modular. They're lighter, all that kind of stuff. And when SIG's really focused a lot on this platform with this and the P365. It just becomes so popular. I think they sort of turned their backs on the original platform, what really put them on the map. Now, they still make these two. I mean, they still make the 220 and the 226, the metal frame pistols, but I think they're more focused on the more modern stuff like the polymer frame striker fired ones, and they've gone so far as to making these crazy ones like this one here. This one happens to be a Legion, and this one has a threaded barrel on it, has the plate on the top where you can put your favorite optic on it, and has a magazine chute on it for speed loading and all that. And here's what's crazy about this. So all these modern pistols here, let me just pick this one back up. Their main claim to fame is how light they are. They're just extremely light pistols because of the polymer frame on them, and that's what draws a lot of people to them. A lot of people use polymer frame pistols to carry, and it works out really great because it's a lot lighter on them. Well, this particular pistol here, this one that they've got about every modern feature on it that you could possibly imagine. This thing's got a tungsten infused grip module on it, which is pretty much the frame. That's what they call it. It makes this gun extremely heavy, but it balances really well. This is a flat shooting gun, folks. I mean, this one is one of the best shooting 9mm pistols you're probably ever going to encounter, and it's because of that added weight. So what they've done is they've appealed to the newer crowd, the newer firearms crowd, the more modern people by building something like this, but they went back to their roots and added heft to it when you got weight to it. Because I told you when I picked this one up, the solid steel one, this thing shoots very good, very flat, because it manages recoil better because of the simple weight to it. Well, they've done that with a modern striker fired pistol. They've added all this weight to it with this tungsten infused grip module on it, and makes it a really nice shooting gun. This gun's very comfortable in your hand, and just you couldn't ask for a better feeling gun on this. Now, the whole topic of this video is whether these older Sig Sauers are outdated. Now, outdated is a term that you have to use however, in whatever context you are. Do they make better stuff than this? I wouldn't say that it's better stuff, but more modern stuff. Yes, they do. Like when you get into something like this Legion right here, it's going to be really hard to say that one of these Sigs can compete with the aftermarket support, the stuff you can put on it, your optics, your threaded barrels that you have on it, your weighted frame. It's just really hard to say that these can even compete with them. But these are a staple of the firearm community, and I like them a lot. I mean, without these, you would never have anything like this. I know people say that the Glock is the originator of the striker-fired modern pistols. Well, they're correct, but really Sig Sauer started off the whole modern movement with this, because before you had this, what did you really have? You had like a 1911 and a semi-automatic pistol to carry around. When Sig came out with this, they really put themselves on the map, and they started the whole ball rolling with modern pistols. I would say yes, with features and all that, these probably are a little outdated, being it's out there single stack. These are both double stack pistols. These are polymer frames. These things just have all the aftermarket support. When you get one of these, there's not really much you can do to them besides just buy them. Like especially this one here, you can't even put your light or your, whatever cool accessory of the week that you want to bolt on the bottom of it. They tried to make a more modern one here with the more texturing on it and the rail and all that, but you still don't have your optic plate or anything like that. So little bit outdated, but a very, very cool pistol to have. And I think anybody that owns one can agree they're some of the best shooting pistols around, these Sig semi-automatics. I especially like the ones like this, the single action, double action. I like to have that feature of the double action also, and along with the single action for that first shot. I think that's a selling point with me. But anyway, folks, let me know what you think. Are these pistols outdated? Have these overtaken them? If you go into the gun stores or the gun shows and you look at the Sig Sauer section, this is mainly what you're going to see are these polymer frame ones over these. So I would say that these things are a little outdated, but just don't get my words wrong. Still very relevant guns, and I like them a lot. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions on any of these firearms, I have separate videos on each one of them. And thank you very much for watching my video today. And you folks have a great day.